Pilot Jameson couldn't believe his eyes when he soared over the top of Mount Hood. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw something strange just sitting there. Mount Hood was a notorious mountain many climbers wanted to climb. However, it wasn't an easy thing to do as there was no trail to the top. Pilot Jameson knew all about the mountain's risks as he flew over it multiple times a day. He operated a small aircraft, transporting goods and sometimes one or two persons to the other side of the mountain. For a distance, Jameson could not identify what he saw. Concerned by what he was seeing, Pilot Jameson reached for his radio. He called the local police, asking them if they could go up there and see what was going on, but the police were reluctant. The dispatcher was still unsure, but Pilot Jameson managed to persuade him. They agreed to meet at the local hospital's helicopter pad in an hour, so Pilot Jameson quickly made a U-turn in the sky. He headed straight to the airstrip and announced his landing. Luckily, it wasn't busy and he could land immediately. He had never taxied to his trailer so fast in his life, as he knew time was ticking by. He arrived at the hospital with his heart racing as if he had just run a marathon. He quickly made his way to the helicopter pad, where the 3 officers were already waiting for him. "Hi everyone," he panted as he readied himself to board the helicopter. Not long after, they took off into the sky, heading for Mount Hood. After 10 minutes, it was time for Jameson to land the helicopter on Mount Hood. The wind had slightly picked up, which made it even more challenging than it already was. When the helicopter touched the ground with a slight thump, everyone sighed in relief. All right, that went quite well. They started to look around, but to Jameson's surprise, he did not see anything out of the ordinary on the mountain. The team began to prepare diligently. They gathered ropes, first aid kits, and warm clothes. Maps of Mount Hood were spread out, and they discussed potential routes and challenges. Once ready, the group set off, led by Jameson. He moved with purpose, his eyes scanning the landscape for any sign of the mysterious object he had seen. Upon arriving at the location where Jameson had seen the strange object, they started their search. They explored every possible nook and cranny, lifting rocks, peering into crevices, and looking over edges. Just when the team was considering giving up, they stumbled upon human footprints in the snow. These footprints led away from the search area. "Someone definitely stayed here," Jameson said, a mix of relief and curiosity in his voice. "But where have they gone now?" he wondered, looking around the deserted camp, hoping to find more clues. They moved through the snow, eyes keenly observing their surroundings. Jameson felt a growing sense of anticipation they were onto something, and he was eager to uncover the mystery of Mount Hood. As they explored, they stumbled upon a hidden tunnel entrance, partially covered by snow and rocks. "Look at this," one of the officers called out, pointing to the opening. The team gathered around, peering into the dark entrance. It was an unexpected find, adding another layer of mystery to their search. After a brief discussion, they decided to explore the tunnel. "Let's see where this leads," Jameson said, leading the way. One by one, they entered the tunnel. The darkness enveloped them as they moved away from the entrance. They could barely see anything beyond the beams of their flashlights. "Stay close and watch your step," Jameson cautioned, as they ventured deeper into the darkness. The tunnel was narrow and the ground uneven. They had to move carefully, the beams of their lights dancing on the walls. As they moved deeper, the team began to speculate about the tunnel's purpose and history. Who made this, and why, pondered an officer. It must have taken a lot of work to dig this, another added. The questions lingered in their minds as they continued their cautious exploration. Someone definitely used this tunnel, Jameson observed. This motivated them to keep going, hoping to find more answers. Encouraged by the signs they had found, the team pushed deeper into the tunnel. "Let's see where this leads," Jameson said, determination in his voice. The tunnel's passages became increasingly narrow and unstable. The team had to move in single file, carefully placing each step. Strange sounds echoed through the tunnel, creating an unsettling atmosphere. The sound of their own footsteps bounced off the walls, mingling with the distant drip of water. Further into the tunnel, they found more evidence of recent human presence. A torn piece of fabric hung from a jagged rock, and they discovered food wrappers scattered on the ground. Despite the challenges, they felt a collective drive to continue their search, each clue bringing them closer to answers. Debates broke out among the group. They weighed the risks against their desire to find out what was further inside. "We don't know what we're walking into," one team member cautioned. Jameson listened to their concerns, knowing the decision they made would be crucial. The debate intensified between those wanting to press on and those urging caution. "We've come this far, we can't stop now," argued one officer, his voice full of conviction. The team agreed, their resolve strengthened. They moved on, each step taking them further into the depths of the tunnel and the heart of the mountain's mystery. The team reached a fork in the tunnel, facing a difficult decision. Two paths lay before them, each disappearing into darkness. Finally, they decided to split into two groups to explore both paths. "We'll cover more ground this way," Jameson said. One group, led by an experienced officer, took the left path. Jameson took charge of the second group, leading them down the right path. Jameson led his group with confidence, showing his expertise in navigating the challenging terrain. He kept a steady pace, ensuring everyone stayed together. Deep in a remote part of the tunnel, the team made a startling discovery. There, lying against the cold, damp wall, was the climber. He looked exhausted and weak. "Over here," Jameson called out, signaling the others. They rushed to the climber's side, surprised and relieved to find him after their long and uncertain journey through the mountain. The team felt a wave of relief wash over them as they realized the climber was alive. He was weak, but he was breathing. "We found him," Jameson said, his voice filled with relief. The climber opened his eyes slowly, looking up at the faces of his rescuers with a faint sense of recognition and gratitude. Immediately, they began to administer first aid to the injured climber. One of the team members carefully wrapped him in a thermal blanket, while another offered him water. As he regained some strength, the climber began to share his story. He had gotten lost on his way back from the peak and injured his leg. Unable to walk, he had crawled into the tunnel for shelter. "I thought I'd never be found," he said, his voice weak but filled with the relief of being rescued. Jameson took the lead in coordinating the rescue operation. His experience and knowledge of the mountain proved invaluable. He instructed the team on the best ways to navigate the treacherous paths while ensuring the safety of the climber. The journey back was filled with obstacles. They had to maneuver through tight spaces and over unstable ground. Despite the difficulties, the team remained focused and determined. Finally, after hours of careful navigation, the team emerged from the tunnel with the climber. They successfully reached the base of the mountain, concluding their daring and arduous rescue mission.